Okimaw kiti uniganis tumagyo utuski hagan amskad na utawi un ngutawa sikti pa matun hutse peots pasiguan sigus chusaga nanas kumaw ga itamawa ga chumustaga taptokyo gan stotmi ni hiu Aglimani ato ay tamago ke ipits tamago yagi ko ay tos ko ito tamil itir to ske haga nagtina na moches ko magano patage ni gani o na moches ko magano patage moy nanto tegis what's ko ito taman anods e goma kispen tagot sigan tigyo to the assembly. Good morning in the name of the Creator, all my relatives, chiefs, headmen, headwomen, youth, elders, and thank you for the prayers this morning. I missed most of the presentation, Mr. Chair. What I said in Cree, I come from Treaty 6 territory, and what is being presented, and I don't want to discount or discredit all the hard work that has been undertaken by the people involved. But my council haven't seen this document and this presentation. It's the first time I've seen it. The Education Board hasn't seen it. Our people haven't seen this document. Yesterday, there was discussion by candidates and also different speakers about restructuring. And perhaps sometimes we need to take a look at this, that we probably set our own feet into the trap kind of thing by adopting resolutions without proper consultation with our own people at home. So I missed the presentation, I apologize, I was downstairs in the lineup. But to me, to the forum, the way the old people explained the sacred treaty, it took two sovereigns to enter into a treaty. Our ancestors that entered into treaty in Treaty number 6. And the Queen's representative, the equal sovereigns. The problem I've always had with AFN and other organizations speaking and negotiating on that whole issue, because in the treaty, prior to treaty, the day before treaty, we had our sovereign systems, we have our governance systems, we had the inherent right to educate our own children. That was never relinquished in the treaty. This treaty number 6, that was further affirmed in the treaty. And then that is an international instrument, contract, if you wish. And anything that's going to this government through forms of legislation. I raised this once at an assembly, AFN. If you can look at the ACSEC situation in Australia when the indigenous people had the right that we have. And they entered into a legislation with the Australian government. It worked for a number of years, and I believe in 1992, in that era, it was terminated by the government of that day. So they were left without the education right that they had an inherent right to education. Those same drafters and that same document is floating around in headquarters, using that as a template for this legislation. What is the guarantee? We've been so colonized for such a long time that we see, and sometimes we think that working with Canada is the only way in regards to any legislation. We need to remember, at least in where I come from, and there's a lot of Treaty 6 leadership and elders here, people, Canada was not at the table at the time of Treaty number 6. And everything that is coming down, this is why Onion Lake is standing by themselves, challenging the government on this issue of C-27. The underlying issue is the land. They've always had that. It doesn't matter which party is in there. The issue is the land. And I can go on and on and on explaining this. Of people that were born in 1951, prior to 1951. We were treaty people. Before treaty, we were people of the land, Inuit. 1951, they created a status register. So 35 to 40 years from now, there will be no status people. So there will be no need for a land. So there will be no need to deal with the Indian problem anymore. All this is part of that. The omnibus bill of C-45 has to do with land and water. Bill C-31 was the status, the citizenship. At the time of treaty, the Indian agent asked our ancestors, who are the members of your tribe? He turned and looked to his people. Those of you that are with me, please stand here. They never relinquished that. Who are their people? But the government somehow, through this Indian Act, came and gotten us to develop citizenship laws. And that was exercised. There's no mention. Onion Lake has their own education law. And some of these laws we presented to Minister Valcourt a couple of years ago, and they're in syllabics. And we said, Minister, go get your interpreter, as you've told our people in 1876. This is a bigger picture, and again, this is the only opportunity I'm going to get. Again, that education resolution is going to come tomorrow. Amongst all of this, the new candidate will be recognized today, the successful chief. And probably half of the auditorium will be gone. Restructuring, Mr. Chair, needs to recognize that 50 chiefs, 50 proxies left at the meeting on the last day cannot speak for the rest of the indigenous people of Turtle Island. That's where we need to begin perhaps one of the exercise in restructuring. Because then, as you can see in the last few years, Harper only wanted to meet with the national chiefs. And we've heard all the speakers yesterday. We are the rights holders, not AFN. Yeah. And hopefully they stand true to that word. And as of tomorrow, after today, again, it's AFN. Having said all this, we were supposed to have a community meeting a few days before I left, but we had a funeral in our community, so we're going to move it till January. That was where we were going to get direction whether to be continuing to be a part of AFN. And our legal counsel have drafted those in preparation for that particular part of, especially in education, anything to do with treaty, at AFN, when they start talking to the people in Ottawa, they cannot and will not represent any of the Cree people. And a number of us here have stated that, but that still continues. Yeah. So in January, that's probably where we'll get the directive and the mandate from our people. So thank you for the presentation and allowing me the opportunity. But this whole resolution exercise is good work, good information. But again, our staff, our people, our elders, our community hasn't seen this. So hopefully you can respect that. If there is a resolution and a motion being passed tomorrow, we will not be able to participate in that, and that can by any means not be deemed as consultation or agreeing to this process. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Chief. Microphone 2.
It's for Christmas proxy for Indian Island First Nation. very difficult to follow the eloquent words of Chief Fox, but I'd like to go to page 7.